Hi there, my friend. I am Gina Zwig with Positive Life Dog Training, and you are watching my very first video blog. I'm so excited to get started with video blogging. And the first thing I want to do is introduce you to my puppy. This is Rory. He is a Sheltie, Shetland sheepdog. He's, as of today, which is March 29th, 2021, he is 15 weeks old. So we are in the trenches with puppy training, house training still, and all things puppies. So if you are training a puppy or training a dog of any age, I want you to know I am right there with you. And I'm so happy to have you join me. Today, we are going to be talking about socializing and doing some counter conditioning that goes along with that. So we have done a lot of that with, you got to see this guy. There he is. I love how he just goes right off camera. We are doing some counter conditioning for things that he finds a little scary or uncomfortable. Hi, Betty. And so there are all kinds of those things. Everything is new to him. And with all of our dogs, especially with puppies, if they're awake, they're learning. They're learning something. So we want to use those opportunities to teach them something good. So hang with me, my friend, and we will get into all the things socializing and counter conditioning. So this might not be the most exciting video you've ever seen of me vacuuming, but I just wanted to show you that where Rory was afraid of the vacuum cleaner at first, you can see how he's aware of it, but he goes on with his playing and brutalizing his little doggy that he loves very much. So we didn't start out this way though. We had to work a little bit to get to that point. It's not uncommon for dogs to be afraid of loud, unfamiliar noises and this looming vacuum cleaner coming at them. So I worked to get ahead of that before he developed an unreasonable fear of the vacuum cleaner. So I will tell you kind of the steps how we did it, but I just wanted to show you where he's at now. He couldn't care less if I vacuum. So what we did to train that's counter condition for the vacuum cleaner specifically was I started him in his little pen, like an X pen, so basically a play pen for dogs, which is where we've been keeping him when he's alone, needs a nap. I can get some work done, like while we're eating dinner, and he does really well in there. We also have a crate for him that we use at night and like when I'm getting ready in the morning so he can be in the bathroom with me but not be getting into trouble. So the X Pen is working great for us. We can put his little bed in there, some things for him to do, something to chew on, a lick mat for licking, and then he usually ends up just going to sleep in there. He's taking a nap right now. Wonderful. I can record this. So anyway, I started him in his X Pen, and then I was starting vacuuming farther away. And so he heard the noise, he was a little worried about it. And then I would stop it and then, or no, sorry, keep the sound going and then go and deliver him a piece of chicken or something wonderful in his pen. And so the idea is we want our dog to associate this potentially scary thing with this amazing food that maybe they've never had before or something that they really, really like. And so I did just a couple of short sessions like this And so I would gradually get the vacuum cleaner a little bit closer to the pen. I wanted to keep him at all times below the point where he was freaking out. That's just, we don't want to go there. We don't want to flood your dog with the experience and attempt to desensitize. So that's not what we're doing. We're just building a positive association with the new experience that's potentially scary or stress inducing in some way. And so I would get a little bit closer, a little bit closer. I had it on low, I didn't have it on the loudest. It's a cordless back. And so I would just keep going and tossing him a really good treat in his pen. And then so the next time I got the vacuum cleaner out, he was excited. He wasn't worried. He was like, "Oh my gosh, is this that thing we do when chicken starts falling from the sky into my pen?" So gradually, and actually, I did the same thing with the blender. So I make smoothies every night, and in a Vitamix, if anyone has a Vitamix, it's just so loud. And so it's a lot for a puppy to be real near that. So with the blender, I had my husband turn it on low and I was farther away. So you want to get to, especially for loud noises, a point that's far enough away where your dog notices it and he's aware of it, either the sight or the sound of the new stimulus. And but he wasn't, I was holding him. And so um, I just was feeding him treats. And then I would get a little bit closer, or my husband would turn it off. And so we, again, did that very gradually. So now I am happy to report every night when I get the blender out, he knows the routine and he just sits right next to me because I give him a little something, like nothing that fantastic anymore, like a frozen blueberry. As it gets a little bit louder and a little bit higher, I give them a little something else. So anyway, that's how I did it with the blender and the vacuum cleaner. The idea with counter conditioning is to you introduce the potentially scary thing. While that's in sight or within hearing, you bring in a wonderful treat. And then when the scary thing goes away or turns off, then the treats go away, so that your dog is thinking whenever that reappears, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing, instead of my life is in danger, this is super scary and I have no control over the situation, right? So that is also kind of the formula for if your dog already has a fear of something, you need to keep them below that point where, like I said, they're in a total freak out. What I'm doing though, from the puppy stage, is I'm counter conditioning in order to prevent these fears from taking place, taking hold. So this is a photo of Rory when he is noticing something that he's not too sure about, and he will just sit and watch. He was looking here, he was in the backyard here at this one, and he was listening for, I think some kids were going past the fence and it was kind of loud, or he heard something he wasn't familiar with. And so he just sits and watches. A couple of other things that I had done to help socialize Rory is that I brought him to Home Depot. And here is a photo of Rory just sitting in the shopping cart. So I did have some treats along with us, to just reinforce him if he, was worried about something, and also to gauge whether or not he was too nervous about it to take the food. He just seemed to just enjoy the experience. He just laid right down in the cart and he really likes to observe. So his personality is not one to just jump in to any situation all in. So he does just like to sit back and observe. So I think for him, being in the cart was a good place to begin. So he met a couple of people. He saw, all the big sounds and forklifts and things in Home Depot, and all of those were brand new to him. But anyway, he did really well with that, and we only stayed for about 10 minutes. We wanted to make sure it was just a short trip, all good experiences, and then we went home. So it wasn't too much. If you're trying to socialize your adult dog as well, this also applies. It is not about the quantity of interactions and socialization experiences. It is about the quality. So we really want to make sure that every experience your dog has with a new experience, new people, sounds, other dogs, places, environments, we really want every experience to be a positive one. So if you're not sure, if there are a lot of things that you're not going to be able to control or not get your dog out of the situation, if it goes sideways, you want to try to set things up so that you are socializing with those in those situations where you can control a lot of the things that are going on. Of course, you can't control everything, but you also want to have a way out, a plan to leave quickly if you need to, so things don't turn out negative for your dog and that he has a negative association with whatever that new experience is. Another thing I wanted to mention about socializing, that socializing doesn't necessarily mean interacting with every new experience. For example, you're out on a walk in your neighborhood and your dog sees that other dog approaching. Part of socializing is just seeing that dog and just being aware, seeing that there are different types of dogs with different people walking in different areas in the neighborhood. Socializing doesn't necessarily mean that your dog is going to go and meet that dog and interact. As a matter of fact, I don't really recommend having your dog meet every dog you see, especially not dogs you don't know with people you don't know. So in your neighborhood, you see a neighbor you know this dog, you know, of course, that the dog has at least had his shots and is friendly with other dogs. That's fine if your dog, and again, if your dog seems willing and excited about that interaction. But if you go out on walks and your dog ends up having that expectation that every dog they see is a chance to meet and go interact and play with that dog, you're setting yourself up for possibly some leash reactivity in the future, because every time they see a dog, they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to go play with that dog. And then when you don't, you get a reaction, right? So we don't want to create that. So I just wanted to be clear, when I say socializing, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to interact with every dog or new person. I also did a written blog post about socializing your dogs a few months ago, and I will, if you scroll down below to the description here, I will include a link to that blog in case you're interested in reading a little bit more about that, about socializing. So I hope that you find this helpful. I would love to hear if you want to leave a comment here, if there are any other topics you would like to see more of. I do have some planned, but I always really like to hear what's important to you. If you are interested in following the video blog here, if you would click that subscribe button, you can be sure not to miss anything in the future. And I just really thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you back here next week. My name is Gina Zwig. I'm a professional dog trainer and owner at Positive Life Dog Training. It is my joy and passion to share with you the wonders of positive reinforcement training and to promote the positive treatment of the most amazing creatures on the planet, our beloved dogs. In my video blog, I share dog training tips, recommendations, lots of free resources, and training demos, all to help you and your dog live your most positive lives together. If you're a dog parent or caregiver, and like me, you also like the idea of making our dogs' lives continually better, then you're in the right place, my friend. Be sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. And thanks so much for watching, my friend. Be sure to scroll down in the description to grab any links to resources I've included in this post. I hope to see you next week.